If you're moving to Hawaii and thinking about buying a house out here, buying property, whether it be for an investment or making a living and buying a home out here, you're going to need to know a lot of different things. This video isn't necessarily going to be about the home buying process, but this is 7 critical things that you need to know before you're purchasing your home out here in Hawaii, and we're going to get after it right now. What's going on, guys? It's Ryan Strong back at you with another video on the Living in Hawaii channel. Everything that Hawaii has to offer, the up, down, left, right, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that you need to know about making that move to Hawaii. So if you're new to this channel, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell so that you get notified anytime that I upload a new video on this channel. And I am a real estate agent out here, and I get calls, texts, emails, people sliding in my DMs or scheduling their own Zooms down in the description below. However you want to get a hold of me, I got your back when making that move to Hawaii. You can even send this text message right here. Hey Ryan, found you on YouTube, love the videos, or don't love the videos. But however you want to get a hold of me, I got your back, right? Send me that DM, send me that text. We'll get on a call, we'll talk about your move and what's important to you. And you can do that right now too. First thing, in no particular order, is going to kick off the cost by each area. This is something that you're probably going to start noticing when you do your home surfing on the internet. And you're going to notice that the price differences for the size of the home that you get in the location, right, and the condition of the home are really going to play a factor. So what I mean by this is the cost per location. So I was actually doing the vlog tour in Hawaii Kai, which you guys can go check out, one of the most recent vlog tours on this channel. And Ridge and I literally drove by a $900,000 essentially fixer-upper / tear-down home in Hawaii Kai, right? Now that same style of home on the Waianae coast or maybe somewhere deep in Ewa or Kapolei might be a little bit less to either fix up or completely tear down and build a new home on that land. So the cost by area, even though we are such a small island, is a big factor. Now, depends on the area and the townhome community, single family home community, the dates of the home, if there's an HOA, there's a ton of factors. But so what I'm getting to though is, let's say you're looking in Mililani and you want to live in Mililani because it's centrally located. It doesn't put you really too far from anything other than the proximity to the beach really, and then maybe your job if you're working in town. But single family homes in Mililani typically are averaging, and again, these are all market dependent, okay? So these numbers aren't set in stone. They shift by the day, literally, okay? So this is something we're going to go over on our call as well when you schedule your Zoom with me and Ridge. But let's say you're looking at homes in Mililani. Single family homes in Mililani can really even depend in Mililani if you're looking on town side or Mauka side, right? And we've covered both these areas on this channel as well. But let's say you're looking on Mililani Mauka side. Now, Mauka side is actually going to be more expensive than town side, just in Mililani alone, okay? And now single family homes in this area are going to range anywhere from $900,000 and up is typically what you can expect. There may be some in there that are a little bit lower, right? This is all dependent, right? Don't quote me on these numbers because everything shifts and changes. That's sort of your disclaimer. But Mililani Mauka is a little bit more expensive than town side. And again, single family home averages in Mililani in general are typically around $900,000. Now, when we look at Mililani homes, they're going to be a little bit older. They're going to be a little bit different style. Probably going to have your jealousy windows on those style of homes. Now, when we go and let's say we compare that to Ewa Beach, okay? I use Ewa Beach a lot because I live in Ewa Beach, but we can even compare it to Kaneohe. It's actually probably more comparable to Kaneohe. Ewa Beach would be more of an opposite, right? Ewa Beach homes, depending on the area. If you're closer to the front of Ewa Beach, you're going to have some homes in West Loch that are going to be $750,000 up, single family townhomes, right? But single family homes, maybe some townhomes, right? When we come further down, Ewa Beach does have some sort of apartment style condo townhome complexes, right? 3-4 stories high. Then they also have just single family townhome communities, okay? Now the thing about buying a home in buying a home in Hawaii in general, we group condo and townhomes together. So some people might think condo and then you think of a high-rise condo building somewhere in the city, right? In Hawaii, it's grouped together, condos and townhomes. Townhomes, we typically think of homes that are just attached together or 1 to 2 stories, right? So somebody can live on the bottom, somebody can live on the top. And then it's a building, right? Or we think of just a home, and they're all combined into one big structure, right? So 5 different units in one structure. So they're all grouped together. And in Ewa Beach, we have townhome communities that are seeing prices of around $600,000 to $650,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath townhome community. But when you look at the community, where it's located, it's really nice, it's really modern, it's really up to date. Then you start to say, oh, okay, well, maybe I can see why. But that's still expensive for not even having a single family home, right? Single family detached home, right? So there's other areas in Ewa Beach where you're going to start to notice that your prices are going to go up because you're going to notice the difference in the styles and the difference in the areas. And these homes are going to start to hit your $800,000, your $850,000 and up, and then up and towards the millions around the golf courses, certain golf courses in other areas, okay? Let's go jump to the other side. I already talked about Hawaii Kai. I talked about the teardown that was $900,000. I did not talk about the nice homes that don't need to be torn down, that are turnkey, ready to move in. Hawaii Kai, average single family home price is getting up there towards the millions. It's pretty expensive over there. And again, they have new villas, condos, townhomes that are right there on the marina that are really expensive as well. I've gone into some for some open house showings, and one of them specifically was really nice. It was like a resort style living. It had boat dock access. You could have docked your boat right in your backyard, basically. You could have stored your paddle boards there. It was $970,000 listed at when I went into that property, and it was on the 3rd floor, I believe. It had I want to say it was a 400 or 500 square foot lanai. It was huge, and it was really, really cool townhome style to see, or condo living. Now, if you head up the coast there towards Kailua, right? If you go up the coast past Waimanalo into Kailua or Kaneohe, same thing. Kailua's average single family home price is also towards the million, right? The $1 million mark. So you can see that it really, really differs. Even though we're on such a small island, it does differ by the area. So this is something that you've definitely got to notice and consider when you start to consider what's important to you. Is the overall monthly budget important to you? Does that not matter? And you're more concerned with the amenities or being by the beach or living in a newer style home. So all these factors come into play, but cost by area is something that you really got to take notice, and something that we also discuss on all of our calls. The last area that we'll talk about, which is Waikiki, is very, very up and down because it really depends. Waikiki does not necessarily have any single family homes, right? A lot of condo living in the city. Okay, and then we got to just, is it fee simple? Is it leasehold? Which we'll discuss the differences of those here later in this video. But the style of the condo, what does it offer? Most of these condos may have a higher HOA fee because it may include electricity, water, cable. It may include everything, and then everything may be all inclusive at like a $947 a month fee, right? So not to include your taxes, and don't quote me on that. That's just an example that I did remember seeing. So Waikiki, again, condo style living, but you're going to be in the city, a lot of things to do, everything close by. So again, these things fluctuate, but even these condos have such a wide range because some of them may be leasehold, some of them may be fee simple, some may be short-term rental approved, most may not. So these things do come to play, right? And then Waikiki is different than downtown Honolulu. Honolulu is more the business district side of things, right? Versus living in Waikiki. So these things can really play a factor, and it's hard to even put a pinpoint number on it. So I want to say the last time that I did look at the number, which was yesterday, the fee simple condos were roughly around $460,000, and we're talking maybe 1 bedroom, 1 bath, sometimes even studios. Rarely will you find a 2-1. So it's very fluctuating, and it's just kind of frustrating to look and find that perfect spot in Waikiki. So something else you got to consider when looking for that home. The second thing you need to know if you are considering buying a home in Hawaii is fee simple versus leasehold. Okay, these are terms that come up when you're looking at your land tenure. All right. Now, I'm going to explain what fee simple first, and you're going to say, well, that sounds like regular home ownership. And then I'm going to explain leasehold. I'm going to explain leasehold and the differences and why this may or may not be important to you, and then how the pricing may be affected if it's a leasehold property. So, fee simple. If you're buying a home and the land tenure says fee simple, that means that if you purchase that property, you will own the land, all improvements on the land, right? The land itself down to the earth center core. You will also have air rights dependent on government restrictions and those types of things. You'll also have mineral rights. And then if you're near a waterway or something like that, we've got to look into see if that is part of your land as well. So that is fee simple, owning the land all the way to the earth's center core, all the improvements on the land, which would be the home itself, the fences, whatever else is on the land. Okay, that is all yours. Sounds like typical home ownership, right? Anytime you buy a home anywhere, for the most part. Now, basic. Let's talk about leasehold. This is where things get tricky, okay? I will tell you that this is more or most common in Waikiki. Most common in Waikiki, but it can be found other places on the island. So this is why it's important to check, okay? Leasehold properties, think of it as if you're a renter, okay? If you are renting out a home and you are signing a lease because you don't own that home, you are renting out that home, right? In the same sense, somebody else owns the fee, meaning they own the land. They are leasing to you some of the land for you to own a structure, right? So, leasehold, you will actually own the structure, but you do not own the fee to the land, okay? Now, this is most common in Waikiki because a lot of times a company or an investor, whoever it might be, owns the entire building, or I'm sorry, the fee. They may either own the entire building, they may own the fee. They may own the land. They built a building and they're saying, we're going to sell you this. This is a leasehold property. You can buy the leasehold property. These leases have a term, just as if you were a renter. If this term is not renegotiated, then you could essentially lose out on everything, because then the leasehold returns the fee back to the owner, okay? So you are essentially a renter of land. Now, there's ways that you can purchase the fee. Sometimes the fee does become available for purchase by the fee owner. You just have to check in with your agent. If you're not working with me, make sure they are on top of this, because this is something that is crucial. Leasehold can also affect the pricing. If it has a shorter term left on the lease, let's say anywhere from 5 to 10 to maybe even 13 years, the 15-year mark is really crucial. I'll explain why. But when you have a shorter term left on the lease, these are when the properties become a little bit cheaper, okay? Especially for anybody looking to buy, because the lease may not be renegotiated, okay? So it's becoming cheaper, but it also becomes harder for the seller to sell. So if you're an investor or you're thinking about investing in a property in Waikiki or even living in Waikiki, you've got to consider these options. Now, I talked about that 15-year mark. The reason that is crucial is because if a leasehold does not have enough length left on the lease, you'll have a harder time getting a loan from a bank if you can't meet the length of the term for the loan. Does that make sense? If you only have 13 years left in a leasehold lease agreement, but you're looking to get a loan for 15 years, and so basically we got a 2-year gap between when you'll actually have like the property and the 2 years left on the loan, the bank sees that as a risk. And so it's going to make it a little bit more difficult for, again, the seller to sell and for the buyer to buy. So leaseholds, let's put it in the nutshell. Fee simple nutshell. Normal home ownership, you own the land, everything below, the home, the air rights, okay? Leasehold, you own the box, you do not own the land, you do not have air rights, you just own the box. That is it. That's the nutshell version. I hope that makes sense, and we can definitely go over that on our call as well. Number 3 is going to be your HOAs, or your homeowners associations. This is very common in the islands, and it's going to be hard for you to avoid. There are areas that do not have it, or the fee is just not that bad. Where I live, I know it's only $98, but again, right up the street in a townhome community that has a lot of greenery, a lot of maintenance, has a pool, all those things, I've seen those HOA fees above $600, right? And then in other townhome communities, it may be $300. Homeowners associations include their own fee, but it also includes the maintenance fee. This is something else that you need to make sure that you are checking when you are looking at homes online, or if we're looking at homes together, or before we even go see a home, whether it be virtually or in person. Okay, HOAs, what's included? So we kind of hit on this in Waikiki. In Waikiki, you can notice that sometimes the HOA fees may be a little higher, but they may include a lot more for the entire building, right? So your electric, your water, your internet, your cable, all those things may be included. Then you got building maintenance, and then the actual HOA fee. Those things can all be inclusive. When you come out to other areas, it may just say sewer and water and other common expenses inside of your HOA and maintenance fee, okay? You're gonna have your HOA fee can be like $49, but then the maintenance fee plus the water, sewer, and the other common expenses, right, can all accumulate to like $350, right? So now these things start to add together. HOA fees are definitely something that you've got to be on the lookout for. What's included in those HOA fees? And then let's say that you did put in an offer where the home does have an HOA, or a homeowners association, okay? Some of these communities, such as Mililani specifically, or I know even Ewa Beach, down in Ewa Beach, we have the Ocean Point HOA, or homeowners association. My point is that these are the umbrellas, right? So Mililani literally has one giant umbrella homeowners association. Then they have little sub-associations underneath that umbrella for the little specific communities around Mililani. Same thing down in Ocean Point, Ewa Beach. Ocean Point would be the umbrella, and then inside of Ocean Point's umbrella, we have these little homeowners associations. So these are other things you got to watch out for, as far as, are there any upcoming assessments, all right? Do they have any things? Are they going to be putting in new speed bumps? Do they want to do like new roofing around the entire building, right? These are assessments that can come up that you got to watch out for, all right? The next thing you do want to watch out for is what's called the RR105C. This is a document that tells you how much money the HOA actually has in reserves. They're supposed to have a certain amount in reserves, and it can tell you how they're managing their funds, okay? So this is something you need to be on the lookout for if you are considering purchasing a home inside of a community with an HOA. You'll also get the bylaws. This is to let you know what you can and can't do. These things can be just outright, outrageous in some of these communities, what you can and can't do with your own property. So some of these communities in Ocean Point, let's say, your garage will be detached in the back, and you'll literally have like this sliver between your garage door and then a little sliver of a driveway. You're not even allowed to park on that sliver in some of these communities. You will get fined for it. They say anything past that garage door and the structure of where your fence is belongs to the HOA, all right? So then they regulate that. Now, even anything to the outside of your home. So you really got to pay attention to these things. I know you're going, oh, I don't want to deal with any of that. It's not something that should turn you away from buying a home. Again, this is just to make you aware of these things when you are purchasing a home out here in the islands that you need to be looking out for, and somebody like a good agent like myself, or anybody in my network, will definitely be on the lookout for you. Well, Ryan, what is the typical HOA fee? Again, very, very dependent on the area, but something that is going to be factored into your monthly budget when we talk about how much you're looking to spend on a monthly basis. We factor it in so that we can get a full entire overview of what you're looking to spend on your monthly budget. So we typically use about $400 as an HOA fee on just our hypothetical estimates. Now, again, all these numbers change when you're actually putting in your offer on the specific home, when we're looking at everything that's included with that. So we typically look at a $400 estimate. Could go up, could go down, depending on the area and all these things that's included and that I just talked about. So we'll talk about that on our call as well. Number 4 is going to be appreciation. How does the home appreciate in Hawaii, right? Again, very dependent on the area, but these are 3 things that we talk about when we talk about home appreciation. Out here is going to be location, size, and condition. these 3 items, okay? It depends on your goals with the home as well. Is this something that is very important to you, right? Are you going to lose value in your home? That's very market dependent, right? What I can tell you is the data provided by High Central, which is our Honolulu Board of Realtors and all this stuff, that on average over the last 30 years, homes in Hawaii have appreciated typically on average about 4.7%. This changes with the market. Sometimes it could be less, sometimes it can be way more. Over the last 2 years, we've seen areas that have had an appreciation of 17% or more, and then we've seen some that have only had about an 8%, right? And then some that have met that 4.7. So on average, typically about 4.7% annually. So this is something that we also cover in the spreadsheet on our calls when we talk about the investment that you're making, whether it be your forever home or if it's a rental or an investment property that you're looking to rent out later on down the road. Whatever it may be, this is something that we cover on all of our calls to help you understand the value of your home here on the islands. If you are liking this video, I would greatly appreciate it, and it would help anybody else looking for the information that you are actually watching right now. If you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and that notification bell so that you get notified every time that I upload a new video on the Living in Hawaii channel. The next thing we're going to talk about is if you decide that you want to rent out your property. Let's say that you lived in it for a little bit, you build up some equity, and now it's time for you to move out, cash out refi, something of that nature. Use that to then purchase your next property, maybe an upgrade, maybe another investment vehicle, whatever it is that your plans are. Let's talk about this one specific thing. I'm not going to go through the entire thing about the landlord-tenant laws in this video. This could get lengthy if we were doing that. This is something that we could go over if this is what you're looking to do in the future. One thing that I am going to point out is if you are looking to buy a property in Hawaii and then rent it out and live off of the island that you bought it on. If it's on Maui, if it's on Oahu, wherever it may be. If you buy a property, let's say that you're investing in a Waikiki condo, let's say that you're military and you want to rent this property out after you PCS out of here. Let's say that you're only here for a couple years for work and then you want to rent it out when you leave. One of those cases, right? Either way, you're going to be renting it out when you leave. Now, under Hawaii Revised Statute, the landlord has to appoint somebody who resides on the island as the agent, and this person acts in the form of the landlord, right? You have to appoint somebody to basically be you, to look after the property and to be your agent in regards to managing the property. Somebody has to be here physically to do that for you. That is one very important thing that a lot of people don't realize is, yes, it could be nice to avoid maybe some fees as far as having the property be managed by yourself, whether you do it virtually, distant, whatever that may be. But in Hawaii, you do have to appoint somebody to basically speak on your behalf, sign the rental agreements and those types of things. So typically, somebody will hire a property manager to look after the home, do the home inspections, have the proper documentation in order, check on the home, check on the tenants, these types of things. So that is one very important thing that you've got to consider if you're trying to buy an investment property here, or if you're not even sure yet, but maybe you're considering renting it out in the future. It's like, okay, well, if I leave, now I know, because Ryan told me I can't just leave and manage it by myself living over in, wherever wherever you decide to go. Decide to go to Vegas, right? And you're going to rent out your property here. You've got to appoint somebody to do that for you. And I mean, it is what it is. So just one thing I wanted to make sure that you were aware of. We're not going to go over everything with property management, but we also do talk about on our calls maybe typically or what could happen as far as you renting it out and then cash flowing year over year. So that's something else we do talk about on our calls, again, to give you a hypothetical idea of what potentially could happen. Number 6 is going to be never waive your inspection. All right. If you're an investor and you decide that you want to waive your inspection and you're just paying all cash and you're fine with maybe the building that you bought it in or the land that you bought it in, or you're just tearing it down, whatever. If you're doing a tear down, then whatever. But as a regular, normal home buyer looking to buy a home to live in forever or for at least some point in time, even as investors, I recommend getting a home inspection. Now, I have had clients who bought a condo outright cash, and they did not want to have the inspection. The condo was a fixer-upper. They said, we don't want to do any of the appraisals. We don't want to do any of the inspections. We just want to get in, fix it up. We know it needs work. We're confident with the building and the structure, and we just want to get in it because we need it. So we can make that work, and we did, and we closed quickly. That is a rare case. You should never waive your inspection just to get your offer accepted. That's the best way to put it. Don't do it just to get your offer accepted. Okay. That's what's happening in this crazy market that we're in right now, July, August, and we're starting to see some shifts, but don't waive your inspection. Reason being, out here in Hawaii, homes can be a little older, okay? We are looking at homes that were built in the 50s, the 60s, right? You're definitely going to want to get an inspection on these things. We got bugs out here. We got termites out here, okay? We're in a tropical environment. There's always salt flowing through the air, right? The sun is hot. It's beaming down. So these are things you never want to waive your inspection. The piping could be old, right? It could be the old school piping. Pipes could burst. You never know when these things happen. Never waive your inspection, okay? Even with some of the brand new homes, don't do it. Even if you buy a brand new home, if you win the lottery and you buy, yes, you do have to win a lottery for that community, and you buy a brand new home, do not waive your inspection. Something could have been faulty on the brand new installation. Somebody may have not done the best job. You never know. Don't do it. When we have an inspection done for our buyers on our properties, we cover 5 major items that we use as our umbrella, right? And then if we need to go deeper on the due diligence, then we do. So typically this inspection costs around $500. This is part of your due diligence period, which we're going to talk about next, okay? This is part of your due diligence period. So after, let's say that you submitted the offer got accepted, right away we're getting that home inspection scheduled so that we can begin our due diligence period, where we may have asked for anywhere from 10 to 14 days as part of our inspection period. Getting that first general inspection right away of our umbrella, 5 major items: roofing, plumbing, health and safety, electrical, foundation. Okay, we say health and safety because there could be asbestos, or if it was built between a long time ago, then we're looking for lead-based paint stuff too. Okay, but those are our 5 major items that we're looking at. Reason being, we look at these 5 major items because these could really be costly items. There may be some other things along the way, such as a water heater, the air conditioner, things like that will be looked at. I'm not saying these are the only 5 things that are going to be looked at. These are our major items that we use as our umbrella. If there is something that needs to be dug in deeper, right? Let's say the plumbing, there's something wrong with the plumbing. Then we got to hire a plumber to actually come out, let us know what it would cost to possibly get this thing fixed, replaced, whatever needs to be done based on the general home inspection that we had before, right? So these things do cost money, but these things that cost money now are going to save you so much more in the long run, because we can either ask for a credit from the seller, right? In our counter, we can say, hey, look, this is what's wrong. This AC is going to cost us $10,000 to replace. We can then ask for it to be repaired. We can ask for a credit, so you can have somebody repair it that you choose, right? Later on down the road, right? When we ask for a credit, that doesn't mean you just get money. But when we ask for a credit for that damage, right, then this is something else that we can negotiate. So inspections are crucial. We've been through the process many times. Don't waive it. We can talk about this more. Let me know if you have questions about this when we get on our calls together. I've already given you a few examples here and there, like when my clients purchased the condo outright and they didn't want to do anything. But the last one that we are going to talk about is the escrow process. Okay, escrow can take about 30 to 45 days to be completed. Now, there's a lot of things that happen in escrow. That's why it takes such a good amount of time. I just talked about your inspection period could be anywhere from 10 to 14 days. It could be shorter, right? Or you could completely waive it, which I just said you shouldn't do. But you have an inspection period time, then you're going to have a time where you're getting an appraisal done, right? And then these all become negotiating points, and so escrow can start to just get longer and longer and longer, right? Not only that, you've got title, right? Title has to be transferred, so in land court, all these things are happening. The title company is taking care of this, and then you got your loan officer making sure that we're going to be able to fund on time and these types of things too. So escrow can take about 30 to 45 days. Now, there are certain things that are different, and one of the reasons that I bring this up too is because I know in certain areas, like in some Texas, they call it an option period. The buyer actually has to pay for the option period over there. And maybe if you're coming from Texas or any other state that has this, where it's like you have to pay to actually have the time to do your due diligence. Not here in Hawaii. In Hawaii, it's granted to you. You just write in your contract how long you are requesting for your due diligence. So we will typically have it at about 10 to 14 days. We get the inspector in right away. That way, if we have any points that we're trying to ask for credits or negotiate, or if we just need to back out and say, look, this home is just destroyed. So these are things that are happening, and that's why the escrow period can be drawn out, but typically about 30 to 45 days. There's other things that can happen too. Maybe the seller is actually requesting a longer escrow period because they need to live in the house a little bit longer. There's things that can happen with rent backs and whatnot, which we can talk about later on. But that is going to conclude the video of the 7 crucial things that you need to know when you are buying a home here in Hawaii. If you're making that move out here to Hawaii, as I've said plenty of times, you can send me a text, you can schedule your Zooms down in the description below, you can send me an email, you can head to my website, you can start looking at homes. However you want to get a hold of me, I absolutely love it, and you can get a hold of me anytime. I'm pretty responsive to anybody. Ask anybody. Well, you probably can't ask anybody that's reached out to me, but anybody who has reached out to me knows that I am very responsive, I'm on top of it, and I'm ready to talk to you and help you with your move to Hawaii. I also mentioned some other things in this video, like vlog tours, where we go through the communities, we show you the communities, we show you the homes. That way, if you heard me say, like, some of these homes are outdated, you're going to see it and you go, oh man, that's that much in that community. And then you're going to look at another vlog tour and you're like, that's that much in that community. Oh my goodness. And you're going to start to notice it online too. Anyway, I'm rambling. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so you get notified anytime that I upload a new video on this channel. I'm going to have those vlog tours popping up for you to click on your screen that you can watch right now.